When you're talking multi-purpose vehicles, it's hard to look past your traditional dual cab ute, and these two are the two best sellers in Australia at present. We've got the Toyota HiLux and the Mitsubishi Triton. Now it's fair to say that both these vehicles are a little bit long in the tooth, so we want to find out exactly why people are buying them. Both the HiLux and the Triton are due for replacement in the next 12 months, but that hasn't stopped thousands of buyers flocking to these workhorses in the interim, overlooking newer and more powerful vehicles including the Ford Ranger, Volkswagen Amarok and Mazda BT50. In terms of the HiLux, much of that sales success comes down to its legendary reliability and resale value. As one of the elder statesmen in this category, the HiLux isn't the cheapest ute nor the best equipped. Now typically as a family truckster, the HiLux needs enough room in the back to accommodate kids and on the rare trip adults as well. And to that end it largely does serve its purpose, but not a whole lot more. As you can see, the seats are quite flat, there's no rear air vents, and there's a lot of hard durable plastics used in the door sleeves. The Triton, meanwhile, continues to lure buyers mainly because of its bargain basement price, which is regularly $10,000 or $15,000 cheaper than most of its competitors, reflected by its ageing interior, shortage in standard equipment and inferior safety. Jumping into the back of the Triton, it's clear that it's the less accommodating option for passengers. As you can see, there's a lot less leg room and less headroom as well, and even harder plastics in the door than the HiLux. Now that's all well and good, however for many people the bigger test will be how these utes perform with a load in the tray or a trailer on the back. So for that reason we've got a horse float here with a bit of gear in the back weighing about 1,000 kilograms. We're going to see how both these utes perform in the real world. We start with the HiLux, which gets an 835 kilogram payload and 2.5 tonne brake towing capacity, well below the likes of the Isuzu D-Max and Holden Colorado. Jumping behind the wheel of the HiLux, you can see why it's found favour with so many families and also fleet companies. The 3-litre engine offers plenty of punch from down low, there's a good spread of usable power, and we found it to be quite efficient during our time, going close to the 8.7 litre per 100 kilometre claim. In terms of the way it drives, well, the HiLux is definitely not as car-like in its handling as, say, the likes of the Ford Ranger or the Volkswagen Amarok. While many competitors in this class have gone to a more car-like interior with softer materials, the HiLux still persists with hard, cheap plastics. Add to that a lack of reach adjustment in the steering and no front or rear parking sensors, and it's easy to see why the current HiLux is at the end of its life cycle. You jump in and even over light imperfections, the car is very, very firm in the back. It's sharp, particularly over the rear wheels, to the point where, it's so jittery that you can begin to feel uncomfortable if there's anything more than, small bumps in the road. The counter argument to that is that once you do have a load on the back in the HiLux, it does feel a lot more compliant than the Mitsubishi, and while the towing capacity is inferior to the Triton, I know which car I'd rather be towing on longer trips. It would have to be this one all over. By comparison, the Triton boasts better load lugging ability with a 954 kilogram payload and a 3-tonne brake towing capacity, but those figures don't tell the entire story. Now on paper, the Triton looks to have the HiLux covered. It's got more power, more torque. However, on the road, it doesn't quite execute itself the way you'd think. In ordinary driving, there's a lot of pitch and roll. There's nowhere near as much body control as the HiLux. On the flip side, that means that the ride is nowhere near as firm, particularly in the rear end, and it's probably a bit more comfort oriented than some of the other dual cab utes in this end of the market. The 2.5 litre diesel engine offers a reasonable amount of low down punch, but it's not the same sort of acceleration. You put your foot down and the engine's noisy, there's a lot of road noise. The Triton is also dogged by heavy and sloppy steering and a lack of features including no reversing camera or parking sensors. Now I've got the trailer on the back at the moment, and with only 1,000 kilos, all that pitch and roll and wallowing and everything else tends to be exacerbated by the extra weight on the back. In terms of practicality, the Mitsubishi is pretty good. Inside it's sort of fitted out in a way that is made to be more durable than anything else. It's sort of highlighted by the hard plastics everywhere. In terms of the tray size, it's actually one of the narrower trays in its class. Despite the fact the payload is over a tonne, it is quite narrow, and those dimensions mean you're sort of limited in what you can carry around. One of the big appealing features for this car is that it's actually got a 4-wheel drive system that allows you to switch from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive on the fly. Now you ask, why is that handy? Well, if you're driving along, say, a beach or some sand dunes and you encounter a boggy section up ahead, you can switch from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive without having to come to a stop and lose all your momentum. That's a pretty handy feature. While they're not the best handling, the best equipped, or the most comfortable vehicles in their class, you can see why both the Triton and the HiLux are at the pointy end of the sales chart. The Mitsubishi because it's cheap and functional, and the HiLux because it's reliable and has legendary durability. The pick for us though has to be the Toyota.